How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at some stuff that just got released on Xbox. As you know, there is this campaign ad going on called This Is an Xbox. And well, a lot of people have been kind of up in arms with it as Microsoft has fully embraced the multi-platform, the multi-ecosystem approach. And as you can see from this is the actual ad that's going on. I'll link it in the description below. But you can see that over here, they're saying, well, you can get this with this, and this, and they're referring to a whole bunch of stuff, but essentially this is the image that they're referring to. This is an Xbox, and basically everything that can kind of run a browser, cloud gaming, or native PC gaming that can run Game Pass is essentially, in their eyes, a gateway to Xbox. Whether it's the TV, the Meta Quest, the Fire Stick, your mobile phone, anything regarding this is an Xbox. And in my opinion, now that they've finally picked a lane, I think that is the best thing about this. For the longest time, they have been concerned and worried about, consumers have been, the player base has been, where are they actually going? Why don't they just pick a lane? And they have. Now, obviously, there was a bit of kerfuffle with the actual interview that Phil Spencer did when he was asked about Halo and whether that would go to other competing platforms, and they said that they hadn't actually come to a decision or decided upon that. It's a long ways away. At this point, in my opinion, the 5 staple games that should never go to any platform is Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, and of course Starfield. I think those are now tentpole titles. I think everything else is case by case, but with those 5, I think those should be on the platform. But what this campaign is doing is educating the consumers out there that there are more ways to jump into Xbox. Xbox clearly has had a problem selling consoles, and with this method, if they can actually succeed in doing what they want to do here, considering now on Android you can go and buy your games and start playing them straight away, which means, devices like the Fire Stick, the Meta Quest, the TV, and of course cloud gaming across devices will now become exponentially more valuable as third-party developers look upon these to just see how much of a user base they actually have. Essentially, Microsoft, though, has only 30 million consoles sold. That number instantly becomes completely and utterly redundant as the numbers of people playing on their mobile phones, tablets, laptops, handheld PCs, Fire Sticks, MetaQuest, as these numbers increase in the millions, that is going to be the centerfold and the statistic that third-party developers will look at, because as soon as they look at Xbox and say, well, is there a market there? Well, they can see that there's like 60 million, 70 million, 100 million users, and at the end of the day, that's a bigger market, a bigger pull for them to release their games, and no reason to skip it. That is what Microsoft is going for. Whether it will succeed, time will tell. Of course, there's a lot of talk about them releasing their console, whether they're going to release a new console, if they're going to do another one. Microsoft has never hidden away from this. Obviously, there's the depressing news of the handheld that came out, that they're not actually going to showcase anything this year, and even though they kind of, in my opinion, heavily hinted at showing something this year, apparently it's still in its prototype stage. He has reiterated in the interview with Bloomberg that they do like building devices and it is in prototype stages. They want to give it a unique, kind of USP, a vision that they have in order to make it, worthwhile to the consumer. And in my opinion, if you're just going to release another portable PC with just the Xbox branding, that's not enough in this day and age, especially with how saturated the market is already becoming. It needs a unique selling point, like, for example, me being able to play my 360, Xbox One, and OG Xbox games on that handheld device with, through the digital library collection by signing into my Xbox Live account. As long as I can do that, that gives it a unique stance. Add to the fact that they are a platform holder, they can subsidize the cost of the handheld as well, making it easily more affordable than the likes of the Asus ROG Ally X. So competition will be rife there and it will fit itself right in. But the news came about in regards to the actual console itself, and will Microsoft actually bother making another one? Especially with the fact that they're kind of pushing this play your games anywhere. And in a Rolling Stones interview, Phil Spencer on Xbox said, we'll definitely do more consoles in the future and other devices. He also commented on the mid-gen cycle refreshes. We think about hardware that can create unique value for our players or creators on our platform. We don't need to do incremental hardware for our own benefit. And I think, I think that is the correct approach. Asked about whether there will be a mid-cycle refresh like Sony has with the recently released PlayStation 5 Pro, he doesn't give a clear answer, but implies that it isn't necessary given the diminishing returns developers are seeing with increased horsepower. And that is kind of correct, because you're not going to see true upgrade without upgrading every aspect of it. And with the PS5 Pro, though it is more powerful than the base PS5, if you don't have a VRR enabled display, you are not going to see much of a benefit from that PS5 Pro as opposed to your base PS5, because most of the performance increase actually comes from VRR, which is kind of crazy, to be honest. You pay $700, but if you don't have a VRR display, you're still going to be playing in performance mode, because even quality mode isn't going to give you 60. I mean, God of War that they're saying gives you 60 FPS is a lie. You only get 60 FPS if you're playing in VRR. If you don't, you're actually getting below 60 on everything but performance. And as you can see here, we think about a hardware that can create unique value for our players or creators on our platform. He said we don't need to do incremental hardware for our own benefit. Does a new device really give you a unique experience on screen in some way? It's less like the old days going from the original Xbox to 360. That was standard definition to high definition. Now it's harder to show benefits. And I kind of agree with this. And even as a PS5 Pro owner, even though I got mine for dirt cheap, at the end of the day, the difference, at least on a 60 Hz TV, is very, very minimal. It's there, you can see it, but it's not £700. You kind of need one of those, LG OLED C2s that are 120 Hz VRR TVs in order to actually see some, a bigger benefit from it. So it's a bit of a shame. But the important takeaway here is the fact that Phil Spencer has confirmed clearly multiple times, and is doing it again now, that the consoles within the Xbox ecosystem will continue and be something that they push for in the future, because at the end of the day, it is still a core part of their gaming. It may not be the biggest growth part. PC and cloud clearly are the drivers here. That is, there's no secret behind that. He's repeatedly said that the console market isn't really expanding above its weight. It might be pushing a little bit here, a little bit there, but it's not growing at the exponential rate that cloud and PC is, and that is where they're seeing true growth. But at the end of the day, console gamers are important to him, and because that is still their core. At the end of the day, the true Xbox experience comes from their core console, like quick resume and everything else. They have reiterated multiple times, but he has, in a Rolling Stones interview, said we will definitely do more consoles in the future. So maybe that 2026 time is still on the cards, and hopefully in 2 years time we will see the next Xbox console. Now, Spencer also implies play own games on cloud is imminent. Now this is pretty much what is the most important factor here. This brings that whole this is an Xbox all into one, and kind of settles it, because this is a key factor of that. If you can buy your games on the cloud and then play them instantly, play any game that you own without the need for, I guess, Xbox Live Ultimate, I think that will still be required, to be fair. That is going to be where all of these other devices outside of the consoles truly shine. We want to get to the point when you buy, whether you're buying on cloud, which we're getting ready to introduce, buying on PC, buying on console, you own it across all of the Xbox ecosystem. This is the whole play anywhere, so you can just play anywhere, and that is the key aspect here. Now, whether that works on Game Pass games, where you pretty much get them as part of the subscription, is another thing. I suspect that is not going to work. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know. But they're clearly saying buy here. So if you want to be able to play them on the cloud, I suspect you're going to have to buy the game. But at the end of the day, that is where the TV, that is where, the Meta Quest, the Fire Stick, the mobile phones. This is where they're going to shine and increase in numbers and perform better. So time will tell with that one. Now this one here I'm putting here, this is the Avowed Premium upgrade. This basically is like $22, and essentially all you're getting is the 5 days early access. You get 2 skins and a digital art book, but essentially you're paying to play up to 5 days. They're not guaranteeing you 5 days. In the trailer it says up to 5 days, so take that as you will. But ultimately the key takeaway that you're seeing here is the fact that Xbox is actually going to continue releasing consoles and that they have no desire in stopping them, but they also mentioned other devices, which clearly they're referring to the handheld console more than likely, but also potentially VR as well, as they look to partner with Samsung and Meta in kind of bringing potentially VR gaming to the next generation console. They have always toyed with the idea and they have been playing with it, but they have never really jumped into it. They were working with Samsung, Google, and other companies to kind of create this really all-encompassing headset for VR, but haven't really heard anything from that since. But that's always, Microsoft is always tinkering with new hardware like the Keystone, so it'll be interesting to see what they conjure up, or what will actually be shown at the end of the this year's VGA, because apparently something is still going to be shown that is Microsoft related by the end of the year, and I suspect it will be at the VGA. But Microsoft is going to continue making consoles, so for those of you that were concerned about your back catalog, about your digital games, be it from the OG Xbox to the 360 to Xbox One and Series S and X games, those will all be backwards compatible with the next generation Xbox, pretty much almost guaranteed, and you'll be able to continue playing those with benefits from the new console to the previous, for the previous generations. So at the moment, all the kind of craziness and concern about this whole strategy that Microsoft is doing is going to kill the console and the console market is dead is pretty much done with. At the end of the day, they've now confirmed fully again in an interview as of yesterday, consoles are basically still on the table, and they are definitely, they use the word definitely, doing more consoles in the future. So roll on 2026, and hopefully we'll get to see more of that hardware next year. But that's the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion, and I will see you in the next one. As always, remain legend.